Welcome, chosen ones, to another profound journey on revelations and wisdom. If you're here, responding to this divine call, know that you're not alone in the shadows of betrayal and spiritual warfare. Never underestimate the profound devastation wrought by a spiritual crime, for the universe holds an eternal ledger, remembering every finger that pulled the trigger on sacred bonds. There's a chilling reality that the masses shy away from acknowledging. Not all breakups are mere emotional fractures. Some are cosmic betrayals, etched with indelible spiritual fingerprints that echo through eternity. And you, the anointed soul, your former partner is only now awakening to the horrifying truth. They weren't just toxic, they were accomplices in a heinous spiritual offense against a being of divine stature. Let's be crystal clear, you weren't an ordinary individual navigating the mundane currents of life. You were anointed, a vessel of higher purpose, radiating a holiness that they mistook for simplicity and discarded like yesterday's refuse. Brace yourself for this eyebrow-raising revelation. Their blindness wasn't accidental. It was a reckless, spiritual negligence, a deliberate alignment with gossips, schemers, and energy thieves, all under the guise of moving on. Now they're jolting awake at 3 a.m., drenched in sweat, frantically typing into search engines. Why is my life unraveling? After hurting a good person? Spoiler alert, it's not misfortune, it's divine retribution in motion. And to inject a dash of ironic levity, recall how they once swore you were the root of all issues. Fast forward to today. They're sobbing in the shower as if auditioning for a melancholic music video, their tears a testament to the void left behind. They didn't lose a lover. They forfeited a shield of celestial protection, all while smearing on lip balm and striding forward with feigned resolve. Stay tuned, because by the end of this exploration on revelations and wisdom, you'll grasp why their actions transcended mere betrayal. They constituted a profound spiritual violation. And the repercussions? Oh, they're merely the opening act in a grand cosmic drama. Number 1. They didn't merely shatter your heart. They severed a sacred covenant with the divine realms. Most folks view relationships as simple emotional entanglements, fleeting dances of affection and discord. But when you're one of the chosen, every bond you form carries an immense spiritual gravity woven into the fabric of destiny itself. You're not some average wanderer seeking casual thrills. Your essence bears the weight of a higher calling. Your love ignites healing fires. Your loyalty is fortified by ethereal forces from beyond the veil. So when they opted to desecrate that connection through infidelity, deceit, manipulation, or by siding with those who secretly plotted your downfall, they inflicted more than personal wounds. They disrespected the sacred architecture of the universe. You stood as their guardian, though they remained oblivious, the unseen architect of their serenity, the stabilizer of their chaotic existence, the opener of doors that would have otherwise remained sealed. Yet, they perceived your boundless love as vulnerability, your gracious spirit as gullibility. In breaking what the heavens had bestowed upon them, they believed they were merely parting from a mortal companion. In truth, they repudiated a divine assignment, a mission etched in the stars. And when one squanders such a celestial gift, the fallout doesn't stem from your vengeance but from the inexorable laws of the cosmos. They didn't drift out of love, they veered catastrophically out of alignment. That's why, from the moment of their departure or treachery, the tides turned against them. Once open portals slammed shut, opportunities withered like autumn leaves, relationships hollowed into echoes, sleep fractured into restless torment, and the tranquility they once basked in your presence evaporated like morning mist. They lost, far more than a partner. They forfeited their favor in the eyes of the divine. Deep down, awareness dawns upon them now, fueling their inner turmoil. It's why they observe your radiance from afar, wrestling with regret as if it were a full-time occupation. It's why your name slips from their lips more frequently in absence than in union. For they didn't toy with fleeting emotions. They perpetrated a spiritual transgression. Compounding the severity, they had unrestricted access to your core, your vulnerabilities laid bare, your unwavering loyalty on display, your raw authenticity shining through. They recognized your rarity, yet ego bloated their arrogance. blinding them to the treasure in hand. Now, the indelible memory haunts them. Undoing the damage proves impossible. You weren't the lesson to be learned. They were the trial you aced, while they faltered spectacularly. Thus, their infliction wasn't mere harm. It enrolled them in a cosmic course correction they never anticipated. Injuring one of the chosen isn't personal vendetta. It's a direct affront to the divine blueprint of your existence. And the heavens? They always balance the scales with impeccable precision. Number 2. They handled gold as if it were worthless, gravel, and now the curse unfolds in full force. In their grasp lay something extraordinarily precious, a rarity that souls petition the stars for yet seldom encounter. An authentic, steadfast individual, spiritually attuned and emotionally abundant. Instead of cherishing this gem, they abused it, treating it with disdain as though it held no intrinsic worth. Comfort bred complacency. Negligence became their norm. They convinced themselves you'd endure eternally, no matter how often they teetered you on the precipice of despair. Witnessing your luminescence, they assumed it flowed effortlessly, ignorant of its origins. The trials you've endured, the wounds you've mended, the divine anointing that allows you to carry such light. They failed to comprehend the personal cost of your profound love, your capacity for forgiveness, your softness preserved amid a world's relentless hardening. By rejecting you, they didn't merely release a person, they distanced themselves from a blessing that knit their life into coherence. The shift hit like a thunderclap. What once operated seamlessly now regresses into disarray. That job they bragged about? It morphs into a hollow shell of purpose. The upgrade they pursued in another reveals itself as a relentless headache. Conversations skimming surfaces, energies feigned, peace utterly absent. Meanwhile, the one they relegated to afterthought status evolves, ascends, glows with renewed vigor. For in removing you, they unwittingly stripped away their safeguard, their celestial favor, their harmonious alignment. Now they confront the spiritual backlash of dishonoring the sacred. When you discard a divine connection like trash, the universe declares, existence does not favor those who squander spiritual currency. And that's precisely what you embodied. A walking breakthrough, a human miracle, a conduit of ethereal wealth. Presently, they're trapped in a phase where nothing aligns rightfully. Enthusiasm eludes them. They post cheerful facades online, yet inwardly crumble under waves of guilt and remorse. This isn't your punishment, it's spiritual law catching up. They deemed you commonplace, but surrounded by true mediocrity, the epiphany strikes. They held pure gold. Pity they grasped it only after its permanent loss, leaving them to sift through the remnants of their folly. Number 3. You were the sanctuary, yet they chased illusions instead. They possessed entry to something profoundly holy, but their eyes remained veiled to its essence. You served as the haven where true healing blossomed, where authenticity dwelled unchecked, where higher powers manifested in your every gesture. Your aura didn't just soothe, it transformed realities. Your words weren't mere comfort, they sliced through emotional clutter like a blade of light. But rather than revering this, they pursued mirages. Shiny distractions that glittered superficially. They veered toward individuals who promised excitement, clamor, or fleeting trends, opting for ephemeral escapes over profound unions. Substance held no appeal, stimulation was their siren call. Unprepared for soul-level exposure, they sought havens where masks endured, for with you, pretense dissolved, and that terrorized them. You demanded not flawlessness, but honesty, a price too steep for those versed in charm and evasion. You proffered accountability, depth, and spiritual expansion, yet they misinterpreted it as control, blind to your intent, guiding them toward their pinnacle self. They conflated your wisdom with judgment, your boundaries with defiance. Thus they fled, convinced they embraced liberty. What they truly selected was bewilderment. Now, amid noisy crowds, emptiness gnaws at them. Surrounded yet invisible, the illusion's allure fades, leaving exhaustion in its wake. Without your grounding presence, your quiet fortitude, existence spirals into pandemonium. At last, They discern that their pursuit pales against what they abandoned. They favored digestible ease over laborious construction, quick thrills over authentic bonds. Now the elements they undervalued torment them: your emotional security, spiritual acuity, ability to revive the lifeless. They overlooked your sanctuary status until blessings ceased flowing. They viewed you as one option among many. Now truth dawns. You were the sacred refuge they weren't equipped for. And upon realization, the doors had already sealed shut, barring re-entry forever. Number 4. They didn't ghost you. They attempted to bury the evidence of their guilt. That abrupt silence, the vanishing act, the unanswered pleas. It wasn't busyness or self-preservation. It was damage control at its most desperate. They knew precisely the wrongs committed, yet chose flight over accountability. Not from strength, but sheer terror of facing you eye to eye, where your power, purity, and endurance would spotlight their pettiness and selfishness during the betrayal. Their disappearance wasn't closure. It was an effort to erase shame, to rewrite narratives as if nothing transpired. But silence isn't healing. It's a coward's refuge. In their instance, it embodied spiritual timidity. You dealt not with emotional overwhelm, but spiritual conviction. Your essence reminded them of unadmitted sabotages, lies where honesty was due. Ego triumphs over elevation. They ghosted accountability, not you. Believing avoidance of dialogue or resolution could dodge repercussions, they erred gravely. Spiritual. Law requires no confession to activate. You can ignore a soul, but not the energy dispatched into the cosmos. Now, that boomerang returns with velocity. They grapple with evaded truths, haunted by suppressed moments. They witness your graceful advance while sinking in emotional quicksand. Attempts to enter memories fail. They resurface in melodies, dreams, unexpected dialogues. In quiet interludes, minus distractions, their minds replay your mistreatment. Their silence wasn't empowerment, it was panic, a dawning that they'd tampered with a spiritually shielded entity. Actions weren't petty or immature, they were violations. That eerie quietude? Not peace, but guilt's echo in the vacancy, where your light once beamed brightly. Number 5. They didn't just lie to you, they allied with forces bent on your annihilation. This transcended broken trust or romantic theatrics. It was spiritual warfare cloaked in intimacy. While you loved from purity's wellspring, they channeled energies unable to assail you directly, infiltrating via proximity. That's the depth of this intrigue. You weren't merely betrayed, you were breached. It's tempting to label them selfish or immature, but the shadows run deeper. Whether conscious or not, they volunteered for an agenda crafted to dismantle you. Beyond cheating or falsehoods, they consorted with envious whisperers, those intolerant of your ascent, who shredded your name in secrecy. Instead of shielding you, they joined tables where your essence was torn asunder, laughing with plotters, fueling demonic intents. They permitted exploitation, their spiritual frailty and emotional recklessness rendering them ideal vessels for assault. You spotted red flags yet extended grace, sensed shifts yet prayed rather than fled. For you weren't just enamored, you were on assignment, believing in their healing, elevation, carriage. But they'd already leaked your blueprint to adversaries. When words failed to demolish, they wielded silence, withdrawal, triangulation, manipulation, attempting to seed doubt. Failing that, ghosting aimed to leave you spiritually scarred. Yet unbeknownst to them, protection enveloped you eternally. Every maneuver observed, every slander noted, every stab accounted. Now, their co-signed betrayal rebounds. Aligning with darkness to extinguish light ultimately corrodes one's own soul, a self-inflicted wound of cosmic proportions. Number 6. Their awakening manifested as total collapse. They undervalued your subtle guardianship, the peace you infused, the clarity you bore, the divine umbrella sheltering all linked to you. Attributing life's smoothness to luck or personal prowess, they ignored the truth. Alignment with a chosen one, spiritually enveloped, fueled their fortune. You deflected storms unseen, an unacknowledged shield. Then, they shattered it. Through breakage, lies, betrayal, or abandonment, assuming replaceability. Life's flow, they presumed, originated from them. But upon detachment, grace departed, plunging them into bewilderment. Why does everything crumble? Jobs once secure wobble. Prioritized friends shift allegiances. Upgrades morph into penalties. Nothing resonates. Deep down, they connect it to you. Lost peace wasn't circumstantial. It was spiritual. You weren't mere partner. You were coverage, prayers, presence, light-repelling chaos. Your essence prevented plan failures, buffered errors. Mistreatment disconnected them from that charger. Now fallout ensues, not luck's whim, but spiritual reality imploding. Isolation lifts, favor vanishes, reliances destabilize. This is the rude awakening, illusion's dissolution. They fancied harming you while retaining blessings, violating sanctity sans cost. But cosmic mechanics decree otherwise. Finally, they comprehend. Losing you wasn't emotional. It was divine severance. In that void, they awaken not to absence, but to your irreplaceable worth. Tragically, collapse preceded insight. Number 7. Your energy was their blessing, yet they mocked its origin. They dismissed your kindness as banal, wisdom as clever quips, support as convenience. Unseen, you were a walking bulwark, a disguised spiritual boon sent to love and shield, emotionally, energetically, divinely, not just good-hearted, a lifeline. Infusing dreams with vitality, praying covertly, enduring unavailability, you channeled, elevated protective sacred forces. But they ridiculed your depth, scoffed at spiritual utterances, rolled eyes at intuition averting disasters. They mocked the very font of their bathed peace. Not that blessings went unfelt. You lightened burdens, directed the lost calmed spirals, stabilized chaos. Yet habituation bred assumption, calm natural, not supernatural. Blind to your intercessions, warding collapses, intercepting fallout, they deemed it good vibes. Now, absent you, life's altered unfavorably. Protection withdrawn, odd pressures mount, anxiety persists, confusion baffles. Your energy masked what their character couldn't. You bridged spiritual gaps unknowingly ajar. Crazily, they may not fully grasp, but feel. Misalignment reigns, clicks fail, settlements elude. Replication impossible, divinely ordained, not taught. They lost, not. A carer, a spiritual anchor disguised as lover. Sans that grounding, truth confronts. Blessing departed not from expiration, but derision. Number 8. They laughed amid your tears, but you labored in birth, not defeat. Your weeping signaled weakness to them, silent submission, pain failure. Observing your devastation, emotional wreckage, self-doubt, betrayal's dissection, they chuckled, pride inflating, believing breakage rendered you powerless. Yet, you didn't crumble. You birthed anew, spiritually, emotionally, mentally stretched, tested, torn. Not destruction, but genesis of intolerance for past concessions. You shed skins, propelled into strength, clarity, purpose realms they couldn't tread. They celebrated prematurely, mistaking low for victory, damage for finality. In truth, spiritual rewiring occurred, detaching manipulations, awakening identity. Each tear washed false selves, sleepless nights uprooted dead growths. While they laughed, you became. They were deadweight unfit for your next chapter. Pain wasn't punishment, preparation, labor pains pre-elevation. Thus, joy fleeting, tides favored you post-release. Despite thefts, you emerged fortified, wiser, purpose reinvested. Tears weren't frailty, sacred waters seeding rebirth. Watching, your prosperity realization dawns. They witnessed not collapse, but emergence. Wisdom eluded them then. Number 9. They confessed to wrong ears, now spiritually exposed. Seeking narrative control, they spoke first, tarnishing you subtly, exaggerating. Flaws, shielding images sans accountability. But in exposing you, self-exposure ensued. Not via retaliation, but truth's organic revelation. Lying on chosen, protected souls backfires. They painted you unstable, selfish, manipulative, intense, hoping sympathy. Yet confessions rang, false, tone off, bitterness loud, guilt seeping. Listeners sensed. Now, naked spiritually, armorless, maskless. Gossip to allies pierce performances, recalling your peace, authenticity. Dots connect, queries arise. If fault's theirs, why? Your chaos? Why obsess if moved on? Unanticipated. Gossip bred suspicion, not grace. Supporters question. Worse, admire your silence. No reprisal, drama, growth, rise. Silent power unmasks lies sans response. Public humiliation attempts rebounded. They stand in spiritual shame. Unspoken guilt screams loudest. Despite twists, falsity vibes detected. Truth infiltrates gradually. They didn't gossip, self-testified. Fragile egos ploy. Narratives crumble, truth endures. Number 10. They attempted history rewrite, but heavens retained receipts. Twisting truths, victim posing, problem labeling. You, cherry-picking events, omitting keys, inflating faults, concealing theirs. Convincing facade, repetition self-convinced. Thought frequency rewrote reality. Flaw, cosmos deletes not. Spiritual realms record all. Manipulations, gaslightings, betrayals documented. Loudness, rightness, swift moving on innocence. Divine truth needs no votes, stands firm. As chosen, your tale's divine mission. Hijacking interferes cosmically, not lie, but spiritual perjury. Consequences delay, but arrive. Life narrates. Authentically, fruits expose roots, characters crack, peace fractures, relations wobble. Despite edits, heaven stamp originals. Inconsistencies emerge. Observers note your graceful rise versus their crumble. Truth catches via divine alignment, not vengeance. While they persuaded people, you healed, grew, became. Ultimate proof. Heavens needed no defense. Your obedience sufficed. Justice, once dodged, now waits at thresholds, receipts unassailable. Number 11. They fell for clones, losing the original. Blinded by ego, they abandoned authenticity. You, for superficial semblances. Mistook surface charm for depth, imitation for essence. Your energy uncopyable, unreplicable, unfabricable. The blueprint loving from healing, depth in silence, purpose in presence. Now looped with essence studiers lacking soul. Initially thrilling, fresh faces, energies, vibes. Time unveils, mirrored, not loved. Clones mimic speech, style, availability, sans spiritual core, backbone, divine link. Shadow, not shelter, convenience over covenant. You challenged growth, demon-facing, evolution, frightening. Clones demand attention, ego strokes, easier, gentler. Excitement wanes, void roars, not seen, safe, trapped. Swapping divine partnership for superficial comfort yields company sans connection. Meanwhile, you've advanced, not physically alone, but spiritually. Shed undervaluation tolerance, no begging recognition. Meant receipt, not study. They grasp, loss irreplaceable. Clones lack your wisdom, loyalty, spiritual weight. Upgrade, proved downgrade. Covenant fled, blessing distanced, remnants cheap. Echoes. Number 12. They fancied harming you elevated them, now drowning in constructions. Believed betrayal, disrespect, villainizing liberated, rabassment uplifted. Thought cold exits, public shaming empowered. Fed ego illusions, sabotaging names boosted theirs. Built not success, ticking bomb of lies, pride, spiritual debts. Didn't just wound, erased supportive chapters. Love, prayers, confidence building, steadfastness. That chapter gave sense, burying in falsehoods cracked foundations. Image crumbles. Perfect narratives rot inwardly. Energy false, peace gone, masks slip. surroundings pierce axe. No true elevation sans integrity. Can't rise trampling uplifters, not growth, arrogance cloaked self-sabotage. Truth, self-cursed. In process. Dirty winds forget spiritual laws, ignore appearances. Universe spurns deceit. Trapped in outwardly pretty, inwardly rotting lives. Flight futile, decision weight shadows, ignoring amplifies. Not living, surviving, not rising, sinking. Not your curse, solid builds impossible on broken character. They birthed mess, now submerge. Number 13. You are the salvific lesson. Not transient link, divine setup for elevation. Entered bearing light, wisdom, healing, unaware needed coverage. Mirror reflecting truths, guide to destined selves. But pride, ego, insecurity, spurred sabotage of potential transformation. Accessed rare insights, illusion-piercing truths, wound-healing love, aligning energy, opportunity to shatter generational cycles, right wrongs, unready for deep visibility, chose comfort over growth, labeled honesty, too much, tested loyalty to depletion, withdrawal, self-choice flipped scripts, storm labeling you, yet new, lost heaven sent. Haunts now, distanced image, energy, history, yet persist, not clinging, impact indelible, words echo, energy lingers, unforgettable lesson, time rewind wish, lost path, not person, shortcut to out-of-reach self, unuttered prayer answer, diminishing forfeited redemption, can't surpass forgotten, lessons endure in silence, regret, unmanifest dreams, rejected unlocker. Number 14. Their tears authentic now. You've outgrown playgrounds. Weep not for messaging loss, but illusion collapse. Replaceability belief. Downgrade elevation myth. Mask fallen. Game over. Consequences roar. Ego ruins stand. Destruction realized. Initially mocked sensitivity. Dismissed warnings. Negotiated value. Deemed soft. Dramatic. Emotional. Thought exit. Downgrade. Gossip equaled win. Truth pursues. Regret, internal, external. Not relation loss. Access, energy, insight, coverage, favor, peace. Realize, no essence match. Offered elevation, character unfit. Tears real, guilt, sleeplessness, flashbacks. Late, not grudging, you elevated. Inner work done, ceased value explaining miscomprehenders. Stopped begging treatment, realized non-mission. Ceased shrinking for outgrown spaces, not bitter, unavailable. Breaks most, inaccessibility, not relation, access weep. You've transcended, no interest in old patterns, breaks, puerility. Playground surpassed, forward gazing. They see who you were, you've grown larger, no descent for memory valued recognizers. There comes a pivotal instant when divine justice shifts from whispers to roars. And for you, chosen one, that era dawns now. You weren't a mere chapter in their tale. You were catalyst, compass, coverage. Divine interruption for uplift, discarded for illusion, ego, ease. But here's the triumphant glory. While mocking your agony, heavens readied your throne. As they scheme downfall, the Most High orchestrated ascent. Harming deemed power play, truly, spiritual eviction notice. Maltreating chosen forfeits, not person, divine access. Tables turned, cries genuine, regret screams. You're untouchable. Not grudge holding, promoted to undisciplined, unreachable levels. Transcended chaos, graduated pain. Walk in vengeance-free grace. Elevation suffices. Let them sit with memories. Wrestle truths. No playground revisit needed. Life, peace, glow, respond adequately. You were salvific lesson. For them, tragically. For you, mercifully, self-saving. If this message ignited your spirit on revelations and wisdom, pause before, scrolling. You felt it purposefully, no accident. Your rising generation refusing silence, shrinkage, settling. Like this video now. It amplifies soul-awakening messages. Comment below, share truths, breakthroughs, or needed this. Subscribe. It's confirmation, not content. Bell on for Spirit Direct words. Share with loved ones, especially Silent Battle. Warriors, not just channel support, building truth, power, clarity, community. Rise together. If unaware before, soon they'll know. Chosen play, small no more.